The planet can survive without you. You cannot survive without the planet. When the planet thrives, we do too. It is our common ground. And every living thing, no matter how small, sustains the whole. As our climate changes, humans experience the violence of these shifts. The oceans rise and fall. Disasters increase. We are displaced. Our land is degraded. Our seas drown in our waste. We lose our luminous biodiversity. Climate change is one of the greatest challenges of our time. We must produce and consume sustainably. Fight desertification and flooding. Be more resilient, more adaptive. Support sustainable cities and human settlements. We must conserve all that we love. Protect our oceans. We can guard that which gives us life. This is the story you are shaping.
The people of this world make it very clear that they are under the strong delusion. They will believe any and everything that the mainstream media tells them to believe and be concerned about. Now, there's much going on right now with the world spreading their propaganda of climate change. This is an agenda that has been developing over decades and will accomplish multiple goals when it all comes together. What people are not aware of is that there are deeper agendas to the claim of climate change they are not explaining to the masses. And I am just going to get right into this because all of this just needs to be brought out into the light. But before I get into the actual true goals of climate change, we need to know what it is. So what is climate change?
We hear it so much that it feels like a buzzword, but it is far from it. Climate change is a real and serious issue. But isn't the climate always changing? What exactly is climate change and why should we care? Well, the Earth's climate has changed throughout history. Most of these slight changes are caused by small variations in the Earth's orbit. But climate change as we know it today is characterized by an abrupt increase in the Earth's temperature. It is estimated to have gotten 1.2 to 1.4 degrees Fahrenheit warmer in just the last century. 10 out of the last 13 years were the warmest on record. 97% of climate scientists agree that this new tendency is not caused by the variations of the Earth's orbit, but rather very likely caused by human activities. That means you and me. And since the Industrial Revolution, we have come a long way. Humans built airplanes, faster cars, developed remarkable technology, and learned how the natural resources around us can be used for our benefit. Although this has led to many wonderful inventions and advancements, like the device you're using to watch this video, or the ability to take a plane halfway around the world, it also means we've increased our consumption of natural resources and in turn released a lot of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Now, greenhouse gases occur naturally, but in excess can be dangerous to our planet. Modern human activities have increased the release of non-naturally occurring greenhouse gases because we have stepped up our demand for burning fossil fuels. Troubling signs of climate change are increased extreme weather events. Natural disasters like floods, tornadoes, and deadly heat waves are more obvious to humans because of their immediate impact and their sharing of the images in the media. Climate change, as we know it today, is change in our Earth's overall temperature with massive and permanent ramifications. Although its consequences can be planet-threatening, scientists still believe there are things we can do on a personal level to help. Recycle and reuse things. Walk or use public transportation to get to work. Turn off your electronics when you're not using them. Eat less meat. While you're at it, eat more locally grown vegetables and foods. And last but not least, spread your knowledge and concerns about climate change with others. When it comes to climate change, the main takeaway is that it's real. And although we are part of the cause, we can also be part of the solution.
So summing it up is basically the Earth is overheating and will be causing great shifts on the overall climate of the Earth. Scientists have long debated this climate change theory, and there hasn't been any real consensus until recently when it seems like the majority of the world is on board with it. And this claim about climate change They have said because of our industrialized world, with all of our burning of fossil fuels, our transportation systems, our factories, and our food productions, and etc. The claim is that we are producing what they call greenhouse gases, and these greenhouse gases trap heat, which causes the surface temperature to go up. Basically, the more gases there are, the more the temperature rises. But what people are not aware of is that these titans and captains of the industries that built this modern world, in order to gain massive power of the world population, are now taking on more control of the people because of the massive power structures that they built. Basically, they built up all these factories and corporations that produce massive wealth, power, and control for them. Then after that agenda has peaked, they use the same industries that they built as a scapegoat for now changing the world so they can increase their grasp for power and control. In the education system that they control, they were programming us with this agenda, but it was called by a different name, global warming, and there was a constant but not overly aggressive reminder of it all the way until they changed the way they sold it to us and increased the aggressiveness of bringing the masses into acceptance of it. They call it climate change now because it has more grand appeal. And I know from school that they programmed us to look at this in a certain way. They want us to believe that all of these factories, cars, boats, airplanes, food productions, and etc., all around the world at extremely high levels, have the propensity to create problems for the earth. They say because of all these things, we are producing too much carbon emissions that is causing global warming. Carbon dioxide, or CO2, is a colorless, odorless gas produced by burning carbon in organic compounds and by respiration. It is naturally present in air, about 0.03%, and is absorbed by plants by photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide is not a problem, even at much higher levels than today. On the contrary, it is essential for plant growth. There is no relation with changing temperatures and CO2, and therefore CO2-led man-made climate change is a blatant fraud. Carbon dioxide is not harmful at all, and it is essential for photosynthesis for all life in the world. During photosynthesis, energy from sunlight is harvested and used to drive the synthesis of glucose from carbon dioxide, CO2, and water, H2O. By converting the energy of sunlight to a usable form of potential chemical energy. Photosynthesis is the ultimate source of metabolic energy for all biological systems. But one way how they say they are fighting climate change is with geoengineering. The claim is that they are spraying the sky with particles of these heavy metals to reflect the sun rays away from Earth. However, this blanket of spray is actually keeping heat trapped on the planet, not carbon dioxide or greenhouse gases. You see, what we are seeing in the sky is chemtrails. Unlike jet contrails, which disappear in a few minutes, these trails start to expand and cover the sky with a milky white film of a toxic brew of chemicals, mainly aluminum and barium. When you look at these elements on the periodic table, it spells out Baal, who we know as Satan. But these are the two main metals used in the chemtrails, and that says a lot. But by them spraying these chemicals, they are blocking the sun rays and are preventing photosynthesis. You see, plants use a process called photosynthesis to make food. During photosynthesis, plants trap light energy with their leaves. Plants then use the energy of the sun to change water and carbon dioxide into a sugar called glucose. Glucose is used by plants for energy and to make other substances like cellulose and starch. So by them spraying these chemicals, they are blocking the sun rays and are killing the environment. This is also the reason why people are dying from illnesses and diseases. These chemicals are in the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the soil our food is grown in. Birds are falling dead out of the sky, trees and crops are dying, and so are we. But there is an excuse of us producing too much greenhouse gases to cover up what they are doing with the chemtrails. Now, this is not to say that human activities don't pollute or that there are no environmental problems, but CO2 and climate change are not some of them. The climate has always changed, and more dramatically in the past than today, and will always change, and we have no impact on it. The real question is, why do they want you to believe that carbon dioxide is causing temperatures to rise? Why do they try to convince us that we are responsible for the climate? Why are they creating fraudulent concepts like net zero? How much money do they extract from us by using these lies? Who profits from it? Who gains power? What natural resources can they grab or privatize using this lie? And what are the real goals behind these lies? What people don't recognize is that there is an agenda to deindustrialize our nations, impoverish us, grab and privatize the earth's resources, including us, enslave humanity, and depopulate. This is what they call Agenda 21 or Agenda 2030 or the Great Reset. The catastrophic human-caused global warming scare is a scientific fraud that is advancing agendas the unseen hand is implementing. Part of the climate change propaganda is that we are told that a consensus of scientists believe in human-induced global warming. This is not true. Some of the solutions they propose to solve climate change is imposition of carbon taxes, cap and trade schemes, carbon sequestration, geoengineering, and etc. The United Nations plan is to seize control of the world resources and economic activity through Agenda 21 and other policy initiatives. Through this agenda of climate change, we will see massive structures of control being built, and it will control every facet of our lives, from how we get around and to what we eat. We will see from a one world government controlled by one man that isn't about one nation but the world as a whole. We will see new taxes on our old ways of life that'll force us into a new one. We will see less freedom and more controls because our leaders are making the case that they are making the hard decisions to protect the future generations. From this agenda, we will see many global rules, laws, economic foundations, and social constraints of what the New World Order will be. We can see what the structures of the Great Reset will be built upon. They are coming to us in the name of goodwill for humanity, but in fact using it as a tool for stronger invisible chains that the people will allow to keep being tightened because they will absolutely see the evidence of their warnings and claims. In the book COVID-19, The Great Reset, Claus speaks about an environmental reset. Claus speaks about how there is an interconnection between the pandemic and the environment. He links together the pandemic, specifically COVID-19, and the environmental issues like climate change and biodiversity loss. He explains how there is a global systemic change in energy, consumption, and policy as a response to these interconnected risks. In the book, he writes, "At first glance, the pandemic and the environment might seem to be only distantly related cousins, but they are much closer and more intertwined than we think. Both have and will continue to interact in unpredictable and distinctive ways, ranging from the part played by diminished biodiversity and the behavior of infectious diseases to the effect that COVID-19 might have on climate change, thus illustrating the perilously subtle balance and complex interactions between humankind and nature. Furthermore, in global risk terms, it is with climate change and ecosystem collapse, the two key environmental risks, that the pandemic most easily equates. The three represent by nature and to varying degrees existential threats to humankind, and we could argue that COVID-19 has already given us a glimpse or foretaste of what a full-fledged climate crisis and ecosystem collapse could entail from an economic perspective. Combined demand and supply shocks and disruption to trade and supply chains with ripple and knock-on effects that amplify risk and in some cases opportunities, and the other macro categories, geopolitics, societal issues, and technology. By now, an increasing number of scientists have shown that it is in fact the destruction of biodiversity caused by humans that is the source of new viruses like COVID-19. These researchers have coalesced around a new discipline of planetary health that studies the subtle and complex connections that exist between the well-being of humans, other living species, and entire ecosystems, and their findings have made it clear that the destruction of biodiversity will increase the number of pandemics. Nowadays, most scientists would agree that the greater population growth is, the more we disturb the environment, The more intensive farming becomes without adequate biosecurity, the higher the risk of new epidemics. It's been known for years that air pollution, largely caused by emissions that also contribute to global warming, is a silent killer linked to various health conditions, ranging from diabetes and cancer to cardiovascular and respiratory diseases. A recent sustainability report shows that the total carbon emissions generated by the electricity production required to power our electronic devices and transmit their data are roughly equivalent to that of the global airline industry. Even unprecedented and draconian lockdowns, with a third of the world population confined to their homes for more than a month, came nowhere near to being a viable decarbonization strategy, because even so, the world economy kept emitting large amounts of carbon dioxide. What then might such a strategy look like? The considerable size and scope of the challenge can only be addressed by a combination of 1, a radical and major systemic change in how we produce the energy we need to function, and 2, structural changes in our consumption behavior. If, in the post-pandemic era, we decide to resume our lives just as before, by driving the same cars, by flying to the same destinations, by eating the same things, by heating our house the same way, and so on, the COVID-19 crisis will have gone to waste as far as climate policies are concerned. Conversely, if some of the habits we were forced to adopt during the pandemic translate into structural changes in behavior, the climate outcome might be different. Commuting less, working remotely a bit more, bicycling and walking instead of driving to keep the air of our cities as clean as it was during the lockdowns, vacationing nearer to home, all these, if aggregated at scale, could lead to a sustained reduction in carbon emissions. We believe that by making clean energy an integral part of their plans, governments can deliver jobs and economic growth while also ensuring that their energy systems are modernized, more resilient, and less polluting. Governments led by enlightened leaders will make their stimulus packages conditional upon green commitments. COVID-19 made it clear that we ignore science and expertise at our peril, and that the consequences of our collective actions can be considerable. Hopefully, some of these lessons that offer us a better understanding of what an existential risk really means and entails will now be transferred to climate risk. Our consumption patterns changed dramatically during the lockdowns by forcing us to focus on the essential and giving us no choice but to adopt greener living. Emboldened by what they saw during the lockdowns, no air pollution, climate activists will redouble their efforts, imposing further pressure on companies and investors. Resetting the environment should not be seen as a cost, but rather as an investment that will generate economic activity and employment opportunities. The threat from climate change and its associated extreme weather events will be with us for the foreseeable future and beyond. To a great extent, its severity will depend on the policy response to the pandemic. Every measure destined to revive economic activity will have an immediate effect on how we live, but will also have an impact on carbon emissions that will in turn have an environmental impact across the globe and measured across generations. As we've argued in this book, these choices are ours to make. Now, that was a lot that he said. Claus is essentially saying that both pandemics and environmental crises like climate change, ecosystem collapse, are existential threats to humanity, and that COVID was a preview of the economic and societal disruptions that a full-scale climate crisis could cause. He said that human-driven destruction of biodiversity increases the risk of pandemics, and that by our well-being and things we do contribute to more environmental disturbance that leads to higher epidemic risk. They say by us polluting the air contributes to climate change and worsens our health conditions, and us being vulnerable to pandemics, and that electricity for digital devices and data transmission produces carbon emissions, and that even when the world was on lockdown during COVID, still did not cut emissions. And if people return to pre-pandemic behaviors, driving, flying, eating patterns, then this will stop the climate progress. So this is why people need to do more remote work, less commuting, local vacations, and etc., because this could stop emission reductions. Claus says that because of the pandemics and climate change, These crises offer them an opportunity to reshape the global economic, social, and environmental systems. They say they are resetting the environment as a way to tackle future climate risks and pandemics that could arise. But I know that the reset they want to do is not about trying to prevent future pandemics and stop the Earth's temperature from rising from greenhouse gases. What they actually plan to do with the agenda of climate change is to produce cities and environments that are linked to the internet and are able to monitor and track people. In the book, The Fourth Industrial Revolution, in the shift about smart cities, Claude says, many cities will connect services, utilities, and roads to the internet. These smart cities will manage their energy, material flows, logistics, and traffic. Progressive cities such as Singapore and Barcelona are already implementing many new data-driven services, including intelligent parking solutions, smart trash collection, and intelligent lighting. Smart cities are continuously extending their network of sensor technology and working on their data platforms, which will be the core for connecting the different technology projects and adding future services based on data analytics and predictive modeling. The positive impacts are 1. Increased efficiency in using resources, 2. Rise in productivity, 3. Increased density, 4. Improved quality of life, 5. Effect on the environment, 6. Increased access to resources for the general population, 7. Lower cost of delivering services, 8. More transparency around the use and state of resources, 9. Decreased crime, 10. Increased mobility, 11. Decentralized climate-friendly energy production and consumption, 12. Decentralized production of goods, 13. Increased resilience to impacts of climate change, 14. Reduce pollution, air, noise, 15. Increase access to education, 16. Quicker speed up accessibility to markets, 17. More employment, and 18. Smarter e-government. The negative impacts are 1. Surveillance, privacy, 2. Risk of collapse, total blackout if the energy system fails, 3. Increased vulnerability to cyber attacks, unknown or cut both ways, 1. Impact on city culture and feel, and 2. Change of individual habitats of cities. This shift in action, according to a paper published in the Future Internet, the city of Santander in northern Spain has 20,000 sensors connecting buildings, infrastructure, transport, networks, and utilities. The city offers a physical space for experimentation and validation of functions such as interaction and management protocols, device technologies, and support services such as discovery, identity management, and security. This should be very interesting to you. When you look at the state of the world we are in, we are becoming more of a global police state. There is much technology that is being pushed out and built around us where they are monitoring and tracking people. We can already see how they plan to track people by the use of neurotechnologies and RFID chips that are implanted into people's bodies, clothes, products, animals, and etc. There is much news that is promoting RFID chips and tech similar to it that is able to carry your digital wallet, health records, and etc. that can be tracked and is linked to the internet. This is where we see how the mark of the beast prophecy can be achieved by them using this type of technology when the Antichrist arrives. But what people don't recognize is that not only will they be able to track us by the use of microchips, but also what they call smart cities.
This is tomorrow morning, and you are brushing your teeth. And at the same time, the city is cleaning itself. Tomorrow, your city will be in your smartphone. You can check the city status, traffic, and air pollution. In the same breath, you will find booking your smart vehicle as easy as ordering food. You'll drink your last sip of coffee and your smart vehicle will already be waiting for you. Tomorrow, your day will get off to a more enjoyable start. As you drive through town, you can check your personal footprint or actively participate in city issues. There is no rush hour in the morning, no waiting, and no traffic jam. Everything is completely connected and communicates with everything else. Tomorrow, your city will have mobility hubs at every corner. They are a flexible, all-around offer for your personal transport. You can choose and switch whenever you want. Later tomorrow, you are working on your next great idea, while your smart city administration can optimize the city with smart workflows and processes. Everything is in flow. The smart city empties the rubbish bins by itself. It knows where many vehicles are needed and where not. Tomorrow, the air in cities will be clean and parking spaces will become parks. The entire infrastructure is managed decentrally. Tomorrow, the cities will be safer and more worth living in. Tomorrow is great.
You see, we are being led to a whole new digital world. This is what the purpose of the rollouts of things like cryptocurrencies, 5G and 6G internet, Web 3.0, the metaverse, digital ID, and etc. These are all tools that are designed to condition us for the new digital world that is coming soon. The world is changing, and they tell us this all the time, especially with their agenda of climate change. They are leading the masses toward a whole new future that is literally right around the corner. The future that we are speeding towards is a future of control, a police state. You know how there's much talk right now of police reform? Well, in the new world that is forming, they are getting rid of traditional police because the citizens of the world will be completely online for the leaders of the world to monitor and control. You see, the global government, through the use of artificial intelligence, will be able to listen to anything in homes and personal conversations. The technology today can pinpoint who is exactly speaking.
Of course, your voice isn't the only voice in your house. Siri knows that and can recognize the voices of each member of your household so that everyone gets their own personal experience.
This is able to be because of all the smart devices like our TVs, phones, tablets, Bluetooth speakers, and etc. These technologies like Siri and Alexa listen to what everyone is saying. But in this future that is approaching, they will be able to follow everyone because our bodies, phones, clothes, watches, and cars will have tracking devices in them that record everything. They already shown this to be true in the predictive programming movies. Also in this future, they will have RoboCops that will be in the street to monitor the public. This will be the same thing with drones and other things that is powered by AI to administer public safety. Our cars will be self-driving, working through AI that will provide the government our location and for them to track us. Even our foods and other things will be delivered from robots. Just look at how many jobs is being replaced by AI and robots. This is the future we are heading to, with them getting rid of the traditional ways of things and moving everyone online into the metaverse. Because when the world gets moved to the metaverse, we will be able to carry out our lives on there. We will be able to buy and sell, remote work, go to school, have a home, play with friends, play games, go out to places, travel, and etc. All of these things and more can be carried out in this digital universe, which they say will lower pollution, provide more employment, more people will be productive, and have a better impact on the climate with better energy production and consumption. You see, when all these things are linked to the internet, we will see crime decrease drastically because everything will be tracked and recorded. But this is why they want a global digital currency, because every purchase will be logged, tracked, and recorded for the system to know and follow. We can see this is already happening right now with the city of Santander in northern Spain.
Mayor Inigo de la Serna is proud of his city and excited, he says, because Santander on Spain's Atlantic north coast is on the brink of a digital revolution. The country may be deep in recession, but here, in one of 4 EU-funded smart city projects, they're working on new technology to make everyday life cheaper and more efficient.
There are huge opportunities, to work. We created just 1 year ago a network of smart cities, which is now formed by 41 cities, about 20 million people, and we are working together to develop new services.
Thousands of digital sensors blanket the city, on walls, lampposts and under the ground. They receive and transmit vast quantities of information to a central control room, monitoring everything from parking to pollen counts, the irrigation of city parks, dimming the streetlights when there's no one in the street.
To get around, for instance, more quickly, wasting less time, my smartphone will point me to the right bus stop and tell me when the next bus is coming. Or if I find some shoes I like, I can log the details of the shop, I can visit its website and find out about sales and discounts. Using augmented reality technology, my phone picks up signals from sensors all around me.
It's an experimental and potentially endless flow of data with applications for businesses, the city and consumers that haven't even been thought of yet.
It will make your life much, let's say, easier in terms of living in the city, increasing the quality of life in the city, making, let's say, the services much closer to you and fulfilling your concrete requirements.
The mayor shows me the Santander City Brain website, a forum for the exchange of ideas between the city and its citizens based on all this information. There's even a novel way to complain. Spot some overflowing rubbish bins or foreigners making a nuisance of themselves on the street. Use the Smart City app, post a photo, and in theory, the problem will be dealt with. Jonah Hull, Al Jazeera, Santander in northern Spain.
They say there are 20,000 plus sensors in the city that measures temperatures, luminosity, carbon dioxide, noise, amount of trash in containers, parking spaces available, size of crowds, and etc. They also place sensors on vehicles that measure air pollution levels and traffic conditions. The Smart City Action aims to tackle climate change by reducing emissions and monitoring environmental parameters. But this will eventually be pushed to the rest of the world, becoming smart cities and smart countries that will have smart citizens that are all linked to the internet for the e-government to monitor and track. Now, there's much more we can go over with them wanting to change the global infrastructure to decrease greenhouse gases, to change the world into a smart world where everything is online and is able to be tracked and monitored. It is also important to understand that they will be using pandemics to push changes to the environment and systems. That is why they link the pandemics and climate change together, because our healthcare and how we function in society has an impact on the environment.
The pandemic changed the way we move, the way we live, and the way we work. It also changed our environment.
Thanks to COVID-19 shutdowns, roads were empty, factories shut down, less people were out and about. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, air pollution in the U.S. dropped significantly from 2019 to 2020. New climate data shows there was less particulate matter, nitrogen, and carbon in the atmosphere. We saw smog disappear from communities here in Chicago and across the world. But experts say we need to do more now.
Like right now, there are reports of a superflu or H3N2 flu virus that is severe, and they are pushing vaccines for it. But they are also saying that another pandemic of COVID will happen soon. And right now, there's a push to mandate digital IDs in order to work and go to places, proof of vaccination, and tackle illegal migration. But the pandemic is being used to push climate laws to decrease carbon emissions. These people don't want us to drive, fly, travel, be outside our homes, use a certain amount of electricity, and etc. They are doing this to feed energy into these data centers, which are the surveillance grids. When the world was on lockdown in 2020 for COVID, there was a drop in carbon emissions. But in the future, they want us to live exactly how we did during COVID-19, but under the guise of climate change. This is why they want us to stay home, don't use electricity, don't use cars, wearing masks, because we all emit carbon and etc. They are even using the youth to be the main climate activists to help push the change to tackle climate change.
Until you start focusing on what needs to be done, rather than what is politically possible, there is no hope. We cannot solve a crisis without treating it as a crisis. We need to keep the fossil fuels in the ground, and we need to focus on equity. And if solutions within this system are so impossible to find, then maybe we should change the system itself.
Greta Thunberg is one of the main youth climate activists who's shown that she pledges allegiance to Satan and his agenda, and is influencing those who follow her to be part of the satanic agenda also. But with the agenda of climate change, they are pushing the masses to change their habits in order to make carbon emissions lower, and are forcing them to stay in homes and live in the metaverse where we will be under surveillance for them to monitor and track us so that we don't harm the environment by producing too much pollution. And with this, they will switch our diets as well, with us eating insects, because the World Economic Forum says that by us eating insects, we can reduce climate change. And also by us riding bikes instead of driving cars will reduce emissions. But this is why they want people to be in driverless cars, because they are a cleaner alternative to gasoline-powered cars that significantly reduces greenhouse gas emissions and improve air quality. But it's actually more so that they can track and monitor where people are going. And there is much more, but this was just explaining the change they want to do to the environment to make everything smart by surveilling all that we do in the economy to lower emissions. But that is just one aspect they want to achieve with the climate change agenda. The main plan that people are not aware of is the plan to depopulate the world. One of the lies from climate change is them saying that the world is overpopulated. Overpopulation is a myth that the unseen hand sells to the world. They are using this lie to bring in a new world order. Yahuwah the Most High, who is our creator, commanded us in his word, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth." Genesis chapter 1 verse 28. As you can see, Yah commands us to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. But Satan, who works against Yah and his word, has plans to destroy man and depopulate the earth. And this is why he created the lie of climate change. The claim the world is spreading is that man is causing global warming, and from this they have goals to control resources and human populations. Former U.S. Secretary of State and political scientist Henry Kissinger says, "Depopulation should be the highest priority of foreign policy towards the third world." There is real agendas put in place to decrease the world's population. Goal number 5 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, gender equality, is all about going against what the Bible says the role of women are. It is believed that this biblical view is a way of being unjust to women and keeping them down, when in fact it is the way that we were all created. And when we are in those natural roles, families thrive and grow in strength. But the thing that the feminist movement is unaware of is the devil's goal to depopulate mankind. What do they say is the number one problem with climate change? The problem is there are too many people. They want to reduce the world population.
I understood.
When you get a virus, you get a fever. That's the human body raising its core temperature to kill the virus. Planet Earth works the same way. Global warming is the fever. Mankind is the virus. We're making our planet sick. A cold is our only hope. If we don't reduce our population ourselves, there's only one of two ways this can go. The host kills the virus, or the virus kills the host. Either way,
the result is the same. The virus dies.
So Valentine's gonna take care of the population problem himself?
Well, if we don't do something, nature will. Sometimes a culling is the only way to ensure that a species survives. And history will see Valentine as the man who saved humanity from extinction.
I saved you.
No. No. We were happy on my home planet.
Going to bed hungry, scrounging for scraps. Your planet was on the brink of collapse. I'm the one who stopped that. Do you know what's happened since then? The children born have known nothing but full bellies and clear skies. It's a paradise.
Because you murdered half the planet.
A small price to pay for salvation.
You're insane.
Little one, it's a simple calculus. This universe is finite, its resources finite. If life is left unchecked, life will cease to exist. It needs correction.
You don't know that!
I'm the only one who knows that. At least I'm the only one with the will to act on it.
It's been 23 days since Thanos came to Earth.
World governments are in pieces. The parts that are still working are trying to take a census, and it looks like he did exactly what he said he was going to do. Thanos wiped out 50% of all living creatures.
What does the right to abortion do? It reduces the world population. What does war do? It reduces the world population. What is one of the plans on the Georgia Guidestones? Yes, to reduce the population. There are so many agendas that are being carried out today. What is undeniable within them all is that the major result of all the agendas is a massive reduction to the human population. Satan hates the Most High's creation. He is in fact a hater of humanity. Though he wants to control us, he still hates us because he did not create us, nor can he. So his goal is always about our destruction and the reduction of our population. His main goal of promoting the feminist movement is not about promoting women's right and justice. It's about the destruction of humanity, the severe reduction to the population so that he shows that he is in control and that he can control creation by just stopping it. Women are having less children than ever before, and there are women that are able to have kids without a man being involved. With recent advancement in genetic engineering, the reality of creating your ideal baby is closer than ever before, if you wish. If you're a potential parent planning on having a baby, you might be able to use genetic testing to choose your child in what some are calling a designer baby. Also, the LGBTQ agenda is also right along with this agenda because what happens when both sexes are mating with the same sex? There is no longer creation. And when humans are created, it's often through the science, which again gives more power to Satan than the Most High. Feminism is not about giving women's rights, it's about stopping creation. But also, they are depopulating the world from these vaccines. Remember that they say that we have epidemic risk from us destroying the climate. They are using the excuse of man destroying the biodiversity to push pandemics to inject us with the vaccines they implement. Back in 2020, when COVID-19 occurred, they were pushing mRNA, messenger RNA vaccines that were a new technology that was a synthetic strand-like instructions that changes a person's RNA. This new technology is like allowing someone to code you. You know how a computer program works in the way they want it to? This mRNA is very similar, and it will allow those making this synthetic RNA to code the RNA to teach our bodies to do whatever they want it to do.
What they do here is they read the mRNA we just injected, and they make the protein we tell your body to make.
This new technology is now making us genetically modified by using modified RNA. We are letting their science reprogram us. And there were many people that died from taking the COVID shots and boosters they were promoting the masses to get. Also, the 5G towers that were being put up around the world at the same time COVID was spreading are emitting radiation that is giving us virus-like symptoms. These pandemics are really about the side effects of the 5G radiation that is being spewed out on us from our phones, light poles, towers, and etc. But this causes people to get sick and even die from being exposed to high levels of radiation. And there are plans to create 6G that will be even stronger than 5G that they will implement around the world. Now, if you remember in 2009, there was a secret meeting of billionaires called the Good Club to shrink the world's population. In the Wall Street Journal title, Billionaires Tried to Shrink World's Population, it says, the New York meeting of billionaires Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, David Rockefeller, Ellie Broad, George Soros, Ted Turner, Oprah, Michael Bloomberg, and others was described by the Chronicle of Philanthropy as an informal gathering aimed at encouraging philanthropy. An article in the Times of London headline, Billionaire Club in Bid to Curb World Population, said the issues discussed in the top secret meeting included healthcare, education, and, by far the most controversial, slowing the global population growth. Taking their cue from Gates, they agreed that overpopulation was a priority. The article said, adding that this could result in a challenge to some third world politicians who believe contraception and female education weaken traditional values. These people met behind closed doors at the home of the president of the Rockefeller University in Manhattan. This secret gathering was sponsored by Bill Gates. They met to discuss how their wealth could be used to slow the growth of the world's population. The emphasis was not on population growth, but on depopulation. They planned to reduce the absolute size of the world's population, which ultimately requires reducing the rate of birth, which would include reduced fertility, coupled with a significant increase in the death rate. This is also the same year they created the fake swine flu pandemic of the H1N1. You see, these men create these pandemics every so often to push agendas to depopulate the masses from vaccinations. Even in Bill Gates' TED Talk, he speaks about lowering the global population by vaccines.
Let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. But
this is the same thing that occurred when the COVID crisis happened. The billionaire elites which fund and enforce the vaccine project worldwide are eugenists committed to depopulation. And we can see in scripture that their plan to kill a majority of the world's population does come into fruition in the soon future. When he, the Lamb, broke open the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living creature call out, "Come." So I look, and behold, an ashen, pale greenish gray horse, like a corpse, representing death and pestilence. And its rider's name was Death, and Hades was following with him. They were given authority and power over a fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with famine, and with plague, pestilence, disease, and by the wild beasts of the earth. Revelation chapter 6, verse 7 to 8. You see, it is confirmed in the Bible that 2 billion people will be killed by war, hunger, diseases, and beasts of the earth. And these puppet masters are the ones who are causing this chaos to occur to achieve their goals of great resetting the world so the Antichrist can rise from the ashes and establish the new world order.
Everything they built will fall! And from the ashes of their world, we'll build a better one!
Now, there is much more that can be said on this agenda of climate change, but this was enough already. What needs to be made clear is that there is no human-made climate change, but there is an agenda to grab all of the Earth's resources, enslave humanity, and depopulate. The idea that humans are causing disastrous climate change by burning fossil fuels is pseudoscience, mass brainwashing, and social engineering that serves various political and economic agendas. By them wanting to cut carbon dioxide will result in a significant deindustrialization and depopulation, which are the elite goals of the United Nations. This is all part of the Agenda 21 or Agenda 2030 for a new world order. Today, many government and United Nations documents utilize the hype fabricated threat of man-caused global warming as justification for several major policy solutions. This plan they have involves the educational system, the energy market, the transportation system, the governmental system, the healthcare system, food production, and much more. It is a plan to inventory and control all of the natural resources, means of production, and human beings in the world. The plan is to restrict your choices, limit your funds, narrow your freedoms, and take away your voice. The 17 Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations are to enslave humanity and bring more control and security over the people, economy, and environment. The story of global warming has always functioned as a cover story to fund geoengineering, weather warfare projects. Because of the excuse of climate change, they are implementing and implanting technologies in every community to harm, kill, maim, and surveil citizens in the form of the surveillance grid, 5G, smart cities, CCTV, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, Web 3.0, the metaverse, and etc. Thus, global warming appears to be the cover story and justification for governments to impose two kinds of social control: social engineering and geoengineering. This is why it is important for them to get rid of guns, because this will make it easier for them to carry out their agendas with minimal pushback. But all in all, behind the global warming climate change fraud are the totalitarian designs of an international global order. And from this, the Antichrist will be a one-world ruler over the world with his one-world government that enforces his laws and orders to provide peace and safety for humanity and the environment. He will say this is all for the goodwill of mankind and the climate, but this is actually more about control and enslavement. But this is the future for those who are following Satan's lie of climate change. They are being led to a new world order established by Satan, who they will worship and declare he is God. And for those who are for Yahuwah the Most High, this future is not for us. We must reject this agenda of climate change and stand only for Yah and his kingdom. Even though they have all of these plans to change the environment and produce smart cities and other technologies to provide them full control of the people in the world, all of this will come to nothing one day. So continue to endure to the end and wait for the promises of the Father to be fulfilled. But the day of Yahuwah will come as a thief in the night, which the heavens will pass away with a great noise, and the elements will melt with fervent heat. Both the earth and the works that are in it will be burned up. Therefore, since all these things will be dissolved, what manner of persons ought you to be in holy conduct and godliness, looking for and hastening the coming of the day of Elohim, because of which the heavens will be dissolved, being on fire, and the elements will melt with fervent heat? Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for a renewed heaven and a renewed earth in which righteousness dwells. Therefore, beloved, looking forward to these things, be diligent to be found by him in peace, without spot and blameless, and consider that the long suffering of Yahuwah is salvation, as also our beloved brother Paul, according to the wisdom given to him, has written to you, as also in all his epistles, speaking in them of these things, in which are some things hard to understand, which untaught and unstable people twist to their own destruction, as they do also the rest of the scriptures. You therefore, beloved, since you know this beforehand, beware lest you also fall from your own steadfastness, being led away with the error of the wicked, but grow in the grace and knowledge of our Adonai and Savior Yahushua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ. To him be the glory both now and forever. Amen. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 10 to 18.